Thank you so much for rejoining us at the launch event for the second State of India's Birds Report. The first SOIB was in 2020, 3 years ago, and the second SOIB is much greater in its scope and much greater in its depth as well. We have some new sections. We have an entirely new section on threats. We have a new section on systematic monitoring of birds, and we have much stronger sections on policy implications and recommendations. And I must add here that over 30,000 bird watchers in India have given over 30 million lists which have been analyzed for the State of Indian Bird Report. We are now going to have a video that we're going to play that summarizes the report. After the video, we are going to have a demonstration of our new website and the MENA app, which will be given to us by Praveen J. So let's start with the video first.
A very good evening to all of you. So we will quickly have a demo of the State of India's Birds website. So the report is coming to an end right now with the release here. It's a static version. While for the website, it's actually the inception. That's a dynamic part of the State of India's Birds program. So we will have more things coming up here, and I would like to just give you a brief peek into where it stands today. So our address, if you are familiar with from the previous report, has not changed. It's stateofindiasbirds.in. That's our web address. And it has got a few sections of the report. You have the basic highlights. The big numbers are displayed. And then we have the report itself. The report soft copy, the web version will be available here. Immediately after the release, you should be able to download it. It will also have some more stuff to download. There will also be an Excel sheet with all the numbers, national numbers as well as the state level numbers. There is also a set of visual summaries in 12 different languages. The same printouts which are there outside, we will also be able to download the soft copies here. The press release will also be put up here as well as the previous report. And there is also some sections. This is more the dynamic part of the website where currently they are filled with details from the report, but you will also have further PDFs which have got a lot more content than what is there in the report, both for threads as well as for the methods on what has gone into analysis of this particular report. They will appear as PDFs in this section, so please watch out here. And there is also a section on systematic monitoring, which is also there in the report, but this will have a lot more than what is actually there in the report. So this is where the content is going to be updated in the coming days. And one of the most interesting parts of, did I lose the internet? Demo effect. Which is the link? Excuse me, which is the link here? One second. Yeah, so this is the page where you would be able to search per species, and you would be able to see what is the status in the country, as well as for the first time, also for several Indian states, also for a few habitats, as well as for a conservation area like a protected area. Is it live now? Okay, looks like connected. Let's see. Yep, that's it. So this is the all species page. There are a set of filters here. You could either use India or you could actually go to different states. The habitats and conservation area filters are also there, and a number of other filters here. So all the species for which the analysis is available is here. Let me go to one particular species. Let's say Egyptian vulture. So this is a page where you have the status of India, what is the long-term trend, the current trend, as well as the conservation priority here, and the range size. It's present in most Indian states, and this is the range map and the trend, national trend from 2002, the 2022. And some of the values which are related to that particular species is also here. And interestingly, from here, you should be able to go to any particular state trends as well as habitat trends. So for example, let me start with protected areas. How is Egyptian vulture compared to the national trend doing in our protected areas, at least the grids where the protected areas are there? So you could see the protected area trend here and the full country trend next to it. And you should be able to also do some comparison of what is the national values and the values in those grids which are in protected areas. Similarly, we could also do for habitats, and also for a few Indian states. So this is the habitat for, and let's just quickly look at one of the Indian states, say Rajasthan, if you would like to see what's the trend in Rajasthan and compare against what is happening nationally. So this is available for a large number of species where we could analyze it. There are also a number of species where we could not get a trend here, for which the data will be deficient. Another addition for this particular report was the tool, which is mentioned in the video also, called MINA. Somebody asked what this MINA stands for. MINA stands for Mapping Your Neighborhood Avifauna. So here, you have a mechanism by which you could actually draw a polygon. So you could actually draw a polygon around this area and give a report name Northwest Uttar Pradesh region. And with this information, you can also select the date, but I'm not going to do that right now. I will just generate a report, and it will give a summary, a summary of what is the species diversity there, classified into different categories: threatened, Schedule 1, high priority, as well as a few tables and some amount of conservation status. And what will also be available is all this species list and with the reporting frequencies classified into some of the different tables which was there in the first page. And this entire, also the common species graphs, the important hotspots in this region and how many species are there in that hotspot, and the complete list of species. The entire MINA runs behind with the same data set as used in State of India's birds, so that's the back end of it. And it also gives the amount of data contributions which has come in that particular region. This web report can also be downloaded as a PDF, which can be printed into a multi-page PDF and used in either if you're interested in conserving this region or if you want to actually create a report for a particular area where you would like to actually have print it out and distribute it to multiple people. So that's available as a PDF here. And I would also tell you two more use cases which I will not demonstrate. You could also, instead of drawing a polygon, if you already have the polygon, you could actually have it uploaded as a KML file here or a GeoJSON or shape file. Or instead of uploading a file, you could also select a geography. So for example, you could actually select Assam and then go to a particular district, Golaghat, and you can generate the same report, exact same format for that particular district. Or, yeah, I think the localities are too much, it's getting loaded. You can also get the locality of inside the, I think there's a lot of localities that it's getting loaded. But you should be able to also generate, for example, if Kaziranga is a locality there, you can also generate the same report with Kaziranga as a locality. So that's roughly the offering on the online, which we'll keep updating. So there will be more enhancements here. This is a 0.9 version of the tool. So taking a larger feedback from the community, we'll add some more features and make it 1.0. So that roughly explains the online offering of State of India birds. So thank you. And I would like to invite Suhail to say a little more about things related to the report itself.
I'm not Suhail. We are going to skip this for now because we have paucity of time. I'd like to invite the panel on the stage to release the report. So Abhiram Shankar, IAS and Birder, please do come up on stage. Manoj Nair, Chief Conservator Forests Wildlife and Director Nandankanan Biological Park. Anita Mani, Publisher Indian Pitta Imprint, and Pia Sethi, Ecologist Cedar. Can we please get the copies of the report for the launch? Sorry. Teething problem.
You suddenly collapse the report even more.
Just give it to them and let them. Just, it's fine. We. Sorry about that. Birders are a bit not good at. Go ahead and tear away. I know.
Before you leave, please.
We have a copy for everyone in the audience, so before you leave, please take your copy. We're now going to have a few words from our funders and our partner organizations. So I invite Rohini Nilekani, who's the chairperson of Rohini Nilekani Philanthropies, to please come up. She's also an avid birder, and Okla in Noida, in NCR, counts as one of her favorite birding locations. I think she said she saw over 130 bird species that day. Over to you.
थैंक यू सो मच नेहा सबको नमस्कार अच्छा दिन भी है कि ये रिपोर्ट रिलीज़ हुआ है और बुरा दिन भी क्योंकि आपने देखा उसमें डेटा क्या मिला है बट I just want to say one or two words. They sprung this on me, so I don't have a ready speech. I'll say what impresses me most about, I know many of the partners and so many did so much work for so long to make this report come out. So really, let's just clap for everybody and all the work that has gone into producing an extraordinary report. I got to see bits of it. I don't have the physical copy, which I will certainly look at. But for me, the three things that really stand out is the collaboration, number one. And I think just the commitment of all these people. We need to do much more because I think there are millions, if not hundreds of millions of people who are all wanting and desirous now in this country and billions around the world who are for the first time engaged in the most challenging human effort of all, which is to save this planet and to reverse the impact of climate change and biodiversity loss. I think birds are the easiest way to get engaged into this journey, and we should do much more as a community to make it much, much easier for them to do so. I think I have been part of seeing the journey of the ASSAR report, which is the annual State of Education report, and they morphed the report based on what they were hearing from the people. And I think perhaps this report can also morph over the years to include things such as what is the flora on which these birds depend, so that more people can plant more or protect more of the flora for this beloved fauna that all the people in this room, I'm very sure, probably you're all going bird watching, you lucky people, tomorrow morning. And I'm just going to dip more into the report. Thank you all very much. Thanks to all the people who made this report possible. Let's just pledge to commit to save and improve the count of the birds by the very next report, however much we can do for any one of those species. And that's what we're all going to work on together. Dhanyavad, namaste.
Might I call upon Mr. Ravi Singh, the Secretary General and CEO of WWF India, to speak a few words. Thank you, sir.
I think it can safely be said that the next time we meet for another report, the populations of birds would have declined even further. And this trend that we have been seeing, observing, quantifying, unfortunately has only one trend at this point of time, if you look at it nationally. A lot of things which have been said in this report are actually known to most of us who are in this room, who have observed this declining phenomena of populations of birds in our country. I don't think I've seen this sort of an analysis in any, put out in anything like this. It is there in some quantification of fish, but not in this kind of mapping. And of course, the thousands of people who have given data and who's next year it will become even better, it will be more. But I can't help but saying that this is not looking good at this point of time. I have been observing and looking at birds in Delhi since 1966. I have some anecdotal records, I have some memory, and I think since the early 90s, one has paid more attention to it because it became much more structured according to design and observation. I think I've read almost, I'm talking Delhi now, almost every major book since the first book on Delhi, which was, I think, Birds About Delhi, was published in 1905 or 1906 or something like that. And coming down to what it is today. And there is only one trend line that I can see. Not many people talked about populations. They talked about observations. Area observation, area observation. This is what we saw, but not the numbers that you are bringing in here. Some did, but not all. Now, there are, I'll give you one or two anecdotes. During the time that I have seen a particular area of, say, New Delhi, say, Lodi Gardens, and around that, between Lodi Gardens, Mathura Road, and a bit further into Okhla, the Indian robin has gone out of Lutyens, Delhi. Of course, you might find the odd one, but generally it's gone out of Lutyens, Delhi. And then once, some friends of mine and I, we went out looking for where this bird, which was so common at one point of time and so beloved, many of us. And we've started getting the first occurrences in places which were somewhere beyond the road that is connecting Gurgaon and Faridabad, that famous Pahadi road. And closer we got to that side of the Aravallis, we got some signs of it. Yeah? And it's strange because at one point of time, you all remember, we have robins in this area quite a lot. And they occurred in paintings, they occurred in anecdotes of children and all sorts of, it's just gone. The other, I remember as while in school, observing birds that were flying in the sky at that point of time. I think the first indicator of decline in our time, where you could see in the winter, possibly two species of storks, 2 or 3 species of vultures, of course kites, the odd bird of prey, in the larger birds that we're talking. It was a fairly common sight. And it all started with the decline of the vultures, the largest of them, just went out like this. Why I'm saying this is that I feel this is going to affect us much more than what we think. There is just in dice on a report like this. And that is that it is no coincidence that the increase of certain pathogens increase of zoonotics, the issues that we are facing in our time, the diseases, the pandemics that we are looking at. I mean, even somebody like me who's not a science, who does not come from a science background, feels this is happening to an extent that it's repeating itself, becoming worse and worse after 5, 10, 20, 30, whatever years. We've come through the pandemic, which was never there in the history of mankind. It's not beyond anything that has been recorded. And when you go back into it, there's of course anecdotal evidence to show that it's got something to do with suppressing nature and not letting the flow of nature continue. And that causes some of these issues, and all of us have been affected by it in one way or the other. And if you see the number of diseases that have taken place because of this issue, the frequency is actually increasing. And can we say that part of it is due to nature giving us another sign, which is this? Possibly yes, it is so. So my request to you, I have a few points in this report which I'd like to say. One is that, this idea of putting this together, all of you who have done this work, a tremendous amount of work that's gone into it. It's not symbolic, it's very important what you have done and said. You've come up with one particular aspect which is going to affect all of us in a big way. And I think we need to not advertise it, but we need to bring this up at every fora to say that, look, this has a symbol, this has an indicator, and please pay attention to it. 1. 2, I think we should also work on solutions now. Yeah? I'm not worried about what happens in the larger area or the Indo-Malayan area or Palearctic or whatever. I can do certain things in my own little subcontinent as compared to the globe. So, what are the 3 or 4 things we can do? And looking at those pastoral areas, looking at our wetlands, our rivers, our forest systems, even pelagic areas and all, we can come up with 3 or 4 things that citizens can actually do, and the government can do a lot in this, but we can help the government and support them in a lot of the work that is happening. Other thing which I've told Suhail, and I'd just like to repeat it for all, please all of you will be aware that this does not really talk at this point in time about nocturnal birds, and that is because the data on nocturnal birds is very scarce, so we don't have enough. And in the reports that go forward, we will try our best to bring those, those in as much as we can. It's very difficult. You can't go around looking for nocturnal birds so easily. But this is one of the aspects, and perhaps even that will have a very deep effect once the data comes in there. We must bring in action. I think we must take, between us, there are lots of people here in this room which could take on a region or study an area or a district or a group of districts or even a state and say that let's try and see what we can do for bird populations or health, etc. Rather than just being, twitchers, just go and say, okay, I've seen this and I've seen that, and this year we had this counter, that year we had that. Day before yesterday in a sustainability summit, India has the leading sustainability summit that happens around this time of the year. It's led by CII. They had a session on conservation, nature conservation and sustainability in businesses and what business can do for this thing. I actually spoke about this State of the Bird report in that fora to say that birds are an indicator, but also an indicator of the quality of life. In some countries, the variety of birds, the populations of birds, are actually showing this is the place we actually want to live. Southeast England, for instance. Parts of the United States, parts of Canada. So if we have this sort of observation year on year in a capital of Delhi, averaging between 240, 260 birds on the Big Bird Day that happens in February every year, it's an indicator. It shows that we still have a possibility of having a good quality of life, because we have this very large number of birds which are recorded here, which are very few of this kind of a city of this size anywhere else in the world. So there are things that can happen. I know that things aren't great in our urban environments, but still there are places, there are gaps, there are actions that we can take place, and I'm suggesting very strongly that we take these actions. Yeah. And these are related things. I don't know how many of you can really say this in a way, because I've been observing this now for over 30 odd years. The decline of pastoralism in our country, the basis on which our civilization in effect, a lot of our culture depends or depended on. The grazing, the movement of animals from the Thar into here and back and things like that. I can go on this. I think I must congratulate all of you who put this together. From my team in WWF India and my people and all those who support us, we'll continue to support this as much as we can. And we like to, and we will like to take actions for conservation going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Might I call upon Subrata Singh, Acting Executive Director, Foundation for Ecological Security, to please come up and say a few words.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I think it has been wonderful being part of the team in bringing out this report, in seeing that our colleagues have collaborated in this effort. But a major thing that I would like to highlight is this as a report, it is an eye opener for all of us, and I think a lot of effort is needed into the conservation of the habitats, and see how larger communities, not just in the urban areas but also in the rural areas, be part of this effort. And as FES, we work across around 14 states, and the effort largely is towards working with communities in conserving their common lands, which we are actually calling as open natural ecosystems. And it's a major part of our work that we feel that this message needs to be taken to them, and also it informs the strategies that we need to take in terms of conservation across. And I think as a background to our work, this particular work is very important to inform the strategies that we take up. And I think this is something that we would like to continue to work towards, and use it as much as possible as we move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. May I call Vivek Menon, the founder and executive director of the Wildlife Trust of India, to please say a few words. He's also an avid bird watcher. He has a very big following on social media. Please come.
That's a good introduction. Well, thank you, Neha. Friends of birds, very, very quickly, wearing my Wildlife Trust of India hat, very, very glad to be part of this whole venture. What a change, Suhail, from the time a few of us like Ghazala and Pia and I used to go bird watching in the 80s, with our mothers making cucumber sandwiches and trying to get a few birders and putting it together for the Asian midwinter waterfowl census. I mean, now given the fact that all this can be pulled together in such a manner, and you can use technology so brilliantly to predict what you've done, is fantastic. It's very, very important to get this to the policymakers. So I think one of the panelists asked about why birds. If somebody asked you why this bird, and I think you were told you said that it has not been asked of you. So I do want to narrate that in my 35 years of history, of conservation history, I've been with a minister who I was trying to convince not to install another installation in Nakondam Island because of the hornbill. And once I explained the whole thing to her, she said, I will talk to the Coast Guard, but the Coast Guard admiral tells me there are hornbills in his house too. So why that hornbill? So yes, that question will be asked. Why that hornbill? And why not the grey hornbill in the house of the Coast Guard admiral? And you will have to answer that question. And I think the important thing is to take these wonderful figures and try to convert it into simple, forms, not frugivore, you're right. Yeah? Very, very simple words that bureaucrats and others can understand. Wearing my hat of IUCN SSC steering committee member, you may know, or some of you may have heard in the news that we've just started the IUCN SSC National Species Center. Rahul Kaul sitting here is the nominate director of that center. And I think one of the first things we can do in that center for this taxa is to look at this and try to see what we can derive in terms of red list and green list of Indian birds, and also try to see whether we can then push for policy reform with the government using this data. So if this is then taken to the ground and we can reverse some of those trends, I won't be as pessimistic as my friend Ravi, who said that next time everything will go down. I hope some of these can go up, at least some of these. And not everything going up. I just want to end by saying not everything going up is good. Somebody talked about peacocks or peafowl and Kerala. It's terrible. I'm from Kerala, and all my relatives are sending me WhatsApp messages. Look, there's a lovely peafowl in my garden. And I'm despairing because it talks to the aridity of my state, the increase of aridity of my state. So in Kerala, when we see peafowl, we should not be celebrating. So anyway, all that is increasing is not good. And I hope we can increase some of the things, the right things in the right place. Many, many congratulations, and wonderful to be part of this venture. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to call on Dr. Ghazala Shahabuddin. She's an adjunct faculty at ATRI and a visiting faculty at Ashoka University to give us the vote of thanks. Thank you.
It's so good to be here, and also to know that this program is coming to an end. I think for those of us who've been working on this project for over a year, and many people who worked way harder than me on this. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's good to see the culmination of this report and its publication, and really looking at the work that has been done on the website also. It's a wonderful addition this year. So we'd really like to thank first of all the bird watchers out there. And I think this has been repeated ad nauseum during this program, but really, it's just amazing how the number of observations have gone up by leaps and bounds in India. India is one of the leading countries in eBird observations. And the way that Bird Count India and eBird in India has made efforts to reach out across the country, I think these millions of observations are only going to get increase, and it's really the basis of the whole report. So thanks a lot to everyone, and those of you out here who are avid contributors as well. The public platform being used, of course, is eBird, and we thank the eBird team for making this whole thing possible by creating a platform that is so useful for both birders as well as for conservation policy and for government action as well. Right. A big thank you to the 13 partner organizations whose logos you've been seeing up here. They have come together and contributed both in cash as well as in expertise I can't say which is more important, but I think both are equally important at this point. These partner organizations include the Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment, ATRI, Center for Ecological Sciences, Indian Institute of Science, Bombay Natural History Society, Foundation for Ecological Security, National Conservation Foundation, National Biodiversity Authority, National Center for Biological Sciences in Bangalore, Salim Ali Center for Ornithology and Natural History, Wetlands International South Asia, Wildlife Institute of India, Wildlife Trust of India and WWF India, and the Zoological Survey of India. It's an amazing collaboration, and I do hope it continues. Thank you all for being there for this very important venture. 3 external agencies have contributed financial support for this project. One is the Dilip Mathai Nature Conservation Trust, the Rohini Nilekani Philanthropies, and the Habitat Trust. We thank you all for that. The report obviously was put together by a vast team. There are 50 people in the team, and from all of these partner organizations and beyond, and all of them are named at the end of the report. Thank you to all. Yes, it would be great to have the team stand up over here so that we can applaud you. The website supports and extends the report. It was developed by Amit Kumar, and the Maina tool was developed by Divakar Prasad's team. You may have seen the visual summaries of the reports, the small pamphlets on the table outside. They are in 13 different languages, and these are Assamese, Bangla, English, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada. I'm not going to leave any one of them out for fear of being possibly labeled parochial. So Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, Marathi, Oriya, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, and Urdu. So it's amazing. All of these translations were done in a completely voluntary manner by birders themselves who are so passionate in the field. There are too many of them to name, but their names are given and at the back of each pamphlet. A couple of them are in the audience as well. Soma Atish, who's here, and Dr. Gurpratap Singh from Punjab. Please stand up so we can see you. Finally, we were assured that actually no one's going to read the full report. So this prompted us to commission a film summarizing all of the findings, which you've all seen today. This film was put together by S.U. Saravana Kumar and his team. Thank you to them. So we actually lied just now. That wasn't the final point. A deep thanks to the person who has shepherded the entire effort in all of these really difficult months. Some people say it was only the final months, but I can say that it's been right through, without whom everything would have descended into chaos. And that person is the coordinator of State of India's Bird Report 2023, Subhadra Devi. Are you here? Yay! And I think that Suhail has been really modest, but without his leadership, none of this would have happened. And he's been constantly, please stand up, stand up. Such a large collaboration can never happen without effective leadership. You know, the large number of different organizations, the varying moods and idiosyncrasies of different people, you know, the different time zones across which we are working. So it's really creditable that he pulled it all together. I was actually 6 months into the report. I was pretty sure that my section was not going to see the light of day, but it actually happened because of him and his encouragement and the pushing that he constantly did, very, very gently, I must say. And of course, thank you to all of you for showing up here and listening to all of this stuff. Hope that it inspired you a little bit to actually look at this a little more quantitatively and also see the purpose in some of this, maybe we can take this somewhere with the government, with all of the different stakeholders. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Thanks. So this brings the session to an end, and I'm happy to say we are right on time. So go out and keep some of the memories and the messages with you. Thank you. Thank you.